Hi, everybody. Welcome to my channel. My name is Priscilla. I hope you're doing well and having an amazing day. And thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. So in this video, I'm going to be installing a couple of site system roles into ConfigMgr. Specifically, I'm going to be installing reporting services point and the software update point. So just to give you guys a little bit of background or a high-level overview of these two site system roles, so the reporting services point, it's a site system role that integrates with SQL Server reporting services to create and manage reports for ConfigMgr. Reporting in ConfigMgr provides a set of tools and resources that help you use the advanced reporting capabilities of SQL Server reporting services or Power BI report server. And then the software update point, it helps us deploy updates to client computers. And it works with your WSUS. So the WSUS server communicates with the Microsoft update server on the internet, and then it brings those updates from Microsoft server to the WSUS server. And basically the software update point is installed to integrate WSUS into ConfigMgr. And the WSUS will pass information to the software update point, which is a role in ConfigMgr. So basically those two work together to help you deploy updates through ConfigMgr. It's like the rough understanding that I have about it. It's pretty complex and there's a lot of that goes into it. So I provided you guys with a couple of links for more information about different site system roles, as well as reporting services and software update point, because there is a lot that goes into these site system roles. So I wanted to provide you with more documentation to look over it whenever you do get a chance and really understand what these do and how they integrate with ConfigMgr to do reporting and to do updates. But basically, I'm just going to do those two for now. If you guys wanted me to do another site system role, feel free to let me know, and I could possibly do that in a future video, which would be pretty cool, actually. But yeah, I just wanted to do these ones for this video. I think it's going to be pretty cool. I hope you guys enjoy it. But again, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. All right, let's get to it. Thanks.
All right, so before I actually go in and install the site system roles that I had mentioned before, there's a couple of things that I'm going to do. So I actually have a testing environment, and I can't remember if I mentioned this before, but I have a testing environment where I practice all this stuff in a similar lab. So I created a lab in VMware that's exactly the same as this one, but it's just where I test this stuff out before recording the videos, because a lot of times I'm just learning it and then I'm practicing and then I make a lot of mistakes. So it's just a good way to kind of test things out, practice, and really kind of know um, what I'm getting myself into and learn about it a little bit more before I actually record the videos. So when I was testing this out in my testing lab, I ran into a few issues. So first one was I needed to update my servers. I hadn't updated them, so I wanted to do that first to make sure that they were all updated and good to go. And then I also ran into an issue of disk space on my SCCM server. So when I created the lab, I created a disk space for the servers. I think I did them all like 60. Yes, this one's 60. And when I was installing the software update point and doing like a sync, there just wasn't enough space. So I ran out of space and it wasn't allowing me to do what I wanted to do. So I expanded the disk size of my SCCM server in my test lab. And so I'm going to have to do the same thing on this one. And I wanted to do it this way because if you were following along with my videos, I'm going to assume that you also set the disk size to the same thing, maybe smaller. Not really sure. I wasn't really sure what it would be on your end, but in case you did do it the way that I did, then you would also run into the same issue when you were trying to install the software update point in your lab. So just so that you can also learn or know how to fix the issue, I'm going to go ahead and do that in this video so you can also do that if you're following along with all of my other videos. And if you're not, then you can go ahead and skip this part. That's all good too. But anyways, I'm gonna go to File, Virtual Media Player. I'll select the SCCM server, and then I'm going to do, what should I do? I think I'll just do 100. So I'm gonna do that. And then another thing to note, so if you have any snapshots, you won't be able to do this because you can't expand the disk space if you have any snapshots for your um, for your VMs. So just a heads up on that one. I don't have any snapshots, so I don't have an issue with that. So anyways, I did that. And now I'm going to start this one. There's different ways of doing the disk partition. I know you can do it through the command prompt. I'm going to do it through disk part because that's just the easiest way that I learned to do it. It actually would be good to learn how to do it through the command prompt too, but for this video, I'm just going to do it through the disk part. And I'll go ahead and show you guys how to do that right now. All right, so it started up now, so I'm gonna go to, let me see, the control panel. All right, so you can see that we have these 40.27 gigabytes of unallocated space. That's what we did when I extended it in VirtualBox, I can prep in the settings. So what I'm going to do is I'll click on this right here. I'll right click it, and I'm going to select extend volume, and it's going to detect this space right here. Then I'll put finish, and now I have 99.73 gigs of hard disk space. So that's done. It's pretty easy. I don't have my disk partition in any other kind of way. Probably would have been smart to do that, but for this testing lab and for what I'm doing right now, it's okay. Later on in the future, I'll probably do that. But for now, this is what I'm doing. And again, if you also had a smaller disk space and you're wanting to install the software update point, there is another way to extend that virtual disk space. If you do have more space on your if you have a hard drive or an SSD or whatever kind of storage you're using for your VMs. I hope that makes sense. If it doesn't, let me know in the comments. But all right, so that part's done. And then the next thing I'm going to do, so I'm going to actually power on the rest of the machines because I need the DHCP up to get the internet for the rest of the servers. So I'm going to start this one up. And then I'm going to start all the machines up, and then I'll get back to you guys. All right, so I do have updates that I need to install on all of my servers. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. And then when that's all done and completed, I'll come back to the next part of the video. So I'll go ahead and pause it, and then I'll start it again when it's all done. All right, so we updated all of our servers now. So those are all good to go. Now we're back in our SCCM server. It took a lot longer than I thought it would. So it's a good thing that I paused the video. So since we're going to be installing site system roles, I wanted to share some docs with you guys. So the first one I wanted to share, and I'm going to include these links in the description. There's also some additional ones that I'll include as well that relate to the reporting services and the software update point. It's just some good information if you guys want to learn more when you get a chance to kind of really get an understanding of what's going on and why you're installing these roles. And so also for example, on this one, it has all of the other site system roles that you can install in your config manager or in your environment, depending on how you have it all set up. And for me, like I said, I'm only going to be installing the reporting services point and the software update point. So those are the ones that we'll be doing today or right now. And then, I also included this one, or kind of wanted to go over this one for the reporting services point, because we're going to be going to have to configure the SQL Server reporting services before we can do the site system role in ConfigMgr. So I'm going to go over that as well. And then this one also has, it tells you at the end what log to look for to verify that the installation worked. So we'll take a look at that log after we actually install it. It's also a good idea to look at these logs that you get with your ConfigMgr to really know what's going on in the background, and also it's really good for troubleshooting. So I'm going to go over that because I haven't really looked at any logs in my other videos. It's not something that I was really used to, but I've learned that it's a great tool, a great resource to sort of really understand what's going on in the background, and also in case there are any issues to be able to troubleshoot that way. Next one that I wanted to share is just this has more information for the software update point on how to install and configure that. So again, if you wanted to read through this, sort of get more in depth into what all of these things are and learn more about it, these are great resources. And like I said, I'm going to include those in the description below for you guys to read whenever you get a chance. All right, so the first thing that I'm going to do before I install that reporting services point in Configuration Manager is going to configure the report. So let me see. It's going to be the report server configuration manager. So if you just search report and find this one, I'm going to go ahead and minimize this. I'm going to connect to our server. And then I'm going to select web server URL, and this is going to configure the URL used to access the report server. You could see right here it's not configured. It provided default values for us. So I'm going to go ahead and click apply. And just wait for that to process. Cool, that's done. Next one I'm going to select is database. And so the report server stores all report server content and application data in a database. So you're going to use this page to create or change the report server database or update database connection credentials. So I'm going to go ahead and just select change database, create a new report server database. I'm going to test the connection to our server. That's awesome. Put next. Database name report server, that's fine with me. English, native, that's good. Specify the credentials of an existing account that the report server will use to connect to the report server database. That's fine. Next. That's going to process in just a moment. Sweet, done. So this task completed successfully. So now we're good with that part. All right, going to click web portal URL. So configure a URL to access the web portal. Could define multiple URLs or specify additional parameters on the URL. They have one that's not configured, which is this one right here. I'm just going to go ahead and hit apply there. This one's also going to complete in just a moment. And it should be good. So cool, that's done. And I'm not going to do any changes to any of these other options right here. So I can go ahead and click exit. So now I did that configuration for the reporting services point. So now we're going to add our software update point and our reporting services point. And the way we do that is if we go to administration, under site configuration, and so first I'll show you guys like the default ones that I have in my environment with what I've done. So I have 8 site system roles currently installed, and these were there by default. I didn't install them beforehand or anything. So that's already there. Like you can see, we have the SQL server, our site database server, our SMS provider, this is our site system. So these are just all the ones that we have currently in our environment. And so in order to install new site system roles, you're going to go ahead and go to your site. So this is my site right here. I'm gonna right click, add site system roles. All right, so select the server to use as a site system. We have our server selected already. And that's site system installation account is good. This is my domain. I don't have a proxy server, so I'm not going to do anything there. And so I'm going to select the reporting services point, and here's a short description. So the reporting services point integrates with SQL server reporting services to create and manage reports for Configuration Manager. And so that's why you had to do that configuration beforehand. And then software update point. So software update point integrates with Windows Server Update Services, your WSUS, to provide software updates to Configuration Manager clients. So like I explained in the intro, basically this software update point is what's going to work with your WSUS in order to bring updates into your Config Manager clients. But so yeah, cool. That's the only ones we're selecting. As you can see, there's other roles that you can select as well. And then in that Microsoft doc, you can read more about those ones. And if you wanted to play around with that and install them in your environment, totally try that out. You know, if you want me to install any of those too, I think I mentioned that in the intro. Again, just let me know. But okay, but next. So specify software update point settings. A software update point integrates with Windows with WSUS. I'll just say WSUS. So WSUS to provide software updates to Configuration Manager clients. So it has it on 80 and 443, so like HTTP and HTTPS. But the one we're going to select is this one, 8530 and 8531, because these are the default settings for WSUS on Windows Server 2012 and forward. And I'm on Windows Server 2019, so that's what we're going to use for ours. I'm not going to require an SSL communication to the WSUS server at the moment because there's other configurations and things like prerequisites that you have to do in order for this to actually work. So I won't do that right now, but that's also another possible thing to explore in the future. Allow configuration manager, cloud management gateway traffic. I don't have a cloud management gateway, so I don't need this. So I'm not going to check any of those. Client connection type. I only have the intranet only clients. If you had internet only, you could choose this one, or internet and intranet. You could choose that as well, but this is what's going to work for me. So I'm going to go ahead and put next. Specify proxy. Don't have a proxy. So you're going to specify the synchronization source settings. Select the synchronization source for this software update point. So I'm going to select this one, so it's going to get our updates from Microsoft Update. And then I'm not going to create any WSUS reporting events because I don't really need to. So click next. I'm going to enable the synchronization on a schedule. I'm going to, so it has 7 by default. So I'm just going to do it to 1. And then Configuration Manager can create an alert when synchronization fails on any site. You can check for synchronization failure alerts in the software update point synchronization status node in the monitoring workspace. Alert when synchronization fails on any site in the hierarchy. Just going to select that because it would be good to have that alert. And then so you can select the behavior for software updates that are superseded. So this will basically allow you to choose whether you want to immediately expire a superseded software update, or if you want to wait like X amount of months before you expire those ones. Um, so do not expire superseded software update until the software update is superseded for, this has 3 months. Same with this one, superseded behavior for feature updates. I'm just going to put immediately expire because in my lab environment, I don't need to keep any other ones. If you were, I guess I would like in a production environment, for sure, this would be something that you'd want to explore. For this testing environment, just to learn things, I'm going to go ahead and just put it immediately expire. And then this is your configure sub WSUS maintenance behavior. This would be a good options to select just to make sure that you're keeping your WSUS like maintained, and it'll decline expired updates in WSUS according to your supersedence rule. So according to whatever rule you had in this option right here, it's going to decline any expired updates that you have. You can also add non-clustered indexes to the WSUS database. To be completely honest, I don't have too much knowledge on this one yet, but it was or it is recommended to turn this one on just to keep your WSUS well maintained. And then also just remove obsolete updates from the WSUS. So these ones are just good options for proper WSUS maintenance. I'm going to select all of those ones for this one, or for my environment. And then I'm going to leave these ones to the default for 120 and 60. And so download full files for approved updates, download both full files for all approved updates, and express installation files for Windows 10. So express installation files provide smaller downloads and faster installations on computers because only the necessary files are downloaded and installed. They are larger files and will increase download times for your site, servers, and distribution points. I'm just going to do the full files for all approved updates. And then, okay, so you're going to select the software update classifications that you want to synchronize. I'm going to select critical and security updates for my environment. And then here, so here's interesting because, so these are the products that you want to synchronize from Microsoft updates. And currently, so it has Windows 10. And I'll select that because one of my clients is Windows 10. But it doesn't have Windows Server 2019. And that's okay because it hasn't done the synchronization yet with with your WSUS. So it hasn't brought in all of the products that you would have available. So you don't really have to worry about it. You could not select anything here and you'd be fine. Because after it does this first sync, you're going to get all of the products and you'll be able to select Windows Server 2019 in my case. And I'll show you how that works out later. But for now, don't worry too much about this. If you want to just leave it all unchecked, that's totally cool. I'm just going to check Windows 10 because I do have a Windows 10 machine in my network. So I'm going to go ahead and click next. And then English is the only thing selected here. So specify reporting services settings. This is for the reporting services point, which is really the only thing we're going to configure in this wizard. So verify the server. Folder name, leave it at that. And I'm going to set, I'll do my SCCM admin one. So that worked out. And then just my password. Awesome. So now we'll do next. Next. And so that's all green check marks, which is good. And then we'll close it. And now if we go over to the server and site system roles, we see we have 10 now. So we previously had 8. So we have now our software update point and our reporting services points added to here. That doesn't necessarily mean that we're done yet. So I mentioned log files before. So I'm going to go to this PC. First thing I'm going to install actually is our cmtrace. And this is what's going to allow us to view the log files for ConfigMgr. And you can find that installation file in your, let me remember, it's Programs, Microsoft Configuration Manager, and Tools. So it has this cmtrace application. You select this one, and so you're going to make this your default viewer for log files. I'm going to click OK, and then I'll put X. And then now I can view the logs for our reporting services point and our WSUS, or our WSUS, our software update point. So the reporting services one is here. I'll just make that default. And so you could kind of see what's going on in the background here. This one, when I tested it out, I remember it took a while just because it's creating all of those reports. Or it's like it's uploading it, I guess. That's the one that you're going to want to look at for the reporting services point. And then for our software update point, here's the log that you're going to look at for that one. So you could see that it's kind of like it worked in the background. That's red, it's usually the red sign. But so it's installing the prereqs for SMS WSUS. Installing there. Supported WSUS version found. Said installation successful. And so that should mean that we're good on that end. But let's also check. I think it's this one. Okay, so on this one, so it's attempting the connection to your local WSUS server. It's successfully connected to WSUS. CSF file notification. So I think that this one is still working. So it's not completely done yet. So this one, WSUS control are no unhealthy. So this one too, I think it's just to verify that it all gets installed successfully. So it's successfully connected. Okay. So this one is the other one that I'm going to kind of look at. And okay, so yeah, this reporting services one is still working in the background. You could see it's successfully created SSRS server. Reporting services URL. So I'm going to see what happens with this one and see if that actually installs. I'm going to actually try doing that first sync right now. So if we go over to software update point on all software updates, we're going to right click and then synchronize software updates. And this is going to run our synchronization. So I'm just going to put yes. All right, so we ran that sync. Now I'm going to go to another log, this wsync manager log. And so just doing some stuff in the background. Did a lot of stuff in the background. So I said I found one. So I didn't detect for sub. There was an error here. Look like I tried again. Found one sub. like it's synchronizing the categories. I'll come back to see if this changes. Now I left this from when I really originally did it because I wanted to do the sync and then come back and see if it worked. So it's been more than a few days. But let's see. Just want to see if it actually brought in the new products. And it did. Awesome. Cool. So I just had it running. So basically, I left this alone for a few days because when I initially did the sync, it didn't bring in these new products. So I ran it again, and then I just left it alone for a few days. Not because I needed to wait a few days. It was mainly because I just had other stuff that I was working on. So, anyways, I left this for a few days, and now it looks like it's completed all of the sync that it needed to do in order to bring the products in that it didn't initially have when I first installed the software update point. So I have the critical updates, security updates, and then I have Windows Server 2019 and Windows 10, which are the ones that I need. So I'll go ahead and put OK, apply and OK, I mean. And then if we go over to our all software updates, I'm going to go ahead and run this sync again, and we should see updates populate into here after it finishes running through. I might just pause this again because it'll probably take a while to pull down, but go ahead and do yes. All right, so now that I ran that sync, it's going to start pulling down updates from WSUS into ConfigMgr through that software update point. But it's going to take a while. So if we go over to our WSync manager, you could see that it's working on that. So like if you look to when we first started it, it woke it up, it started the sync. It was reading from the software update point, but it was bringing it from the software update point. It found that sub, and then it kind of started working and synchronizing with the WSUS server. And now it's syncing those WSUS, it's starting that WSUS synchronization. So it's processing those updates, and it's 1300. So this is going to take a while to run. So I'll leave this, in the background, but essentially it is going to bring those updates and it's going to show up over here. All right, so I actually left that the software updates running after I left off last time. And so I left it a couple of days, kind of just wanted to let it do its thing. And I had a chance to come back to look at it today. So go ahead and look at that WSync manager log. And I think the last time I looked at it was, when did I look at this last? It was like, I think it was like 1330. So yeah, so last time I looked at this was on the 13th. It ran all of the updates that it needed to run. And then like it kind of was doing some more updates after that. But basically, if I go back into here, we should see updates in our software, all software updates now. So yep, we got 114 here. And we'll be able to kind of, we'll work with this later on, but kind of just wanted to show you, after that sync does run, you'll see those updates show up here in your console. And another thing too is when you are running that first sync after installing the software update point, if you have to run it a few more times, that is normal. So don't worry if like the first time you run it, if you don't see that the list you have on your products tab over here is updated with the like the machines that you wanted to get updates for, that's fine. Just run it again and then just give it some time to work in the background. And eventually you should see that pop up. So don't worry about that if that does happen. And so, yeah, so we have that set up already. Also to show you that reporting services side. So if we go over to Internet Explorer, and if we look at that link that we configured when before we actually installed the reporting services point, on the site server, we can go ahead and verify that that was set up and available for you to view. So we'll just put my server name and then /reports. And this is going to take you to that report page that you can view and access. So I won't have any data here either, but these will be the reports that you would have access to once you start working with it. And you know, in the future, I'm interested in playing around with this a little bit more and seeing like data actually populate in here, because right now we won't really have anything available, but I wanted to show you what that looks like, you know, if you were to do this on your end. So it's kind of cool to be able to actually like come in and look at the data through this browser. So yeah, I don't have any information here, which is fine. But yeah, so this is pretty cool. Cool to kind of just wanted to work on, like, I guess I wanted to show you guys how to install it and also what it looks like here on the back end, or on the reporting services page. So that's pretty neat. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So we installed that software update point and the reporting services. So we have it as our site system roles. You know, if you wanted to look at this, this is pretty cool. I mean, I'm not sure how much this really, or what this really says about anything, but it says okay. It says everything's working good as it should be. For the most part, like from what I can see here, it's all okay. Good to go. So yeah, I mean, I hope you guys enjoyed that video. You know, if you have any questions or if you run into any issues, if you try this on your end, feel free to let me know and I'll go ahead and try to help you out with that. But again, if you have any comments or suggestions, feel free to drop those in the comments section as well. Again, I appreciate you guys so much for watching. I hope this video was helpful. And yeah, have a good one. Bye.